This week's painting is one that's very widely recognized. I think most people will recognize this painting. And this is A Sunday Afternoon on the Island of La Grande Jatte by the French artist Georges Seurat. This piece was completed in 1886, but Seurat actually spent over 2 years painting A Sunday Afternoon. And it's a very large canvas. People don't always realize that, but it's about 10 feet wide. And today it resides in the Art Institute of Chicago. And the reason I picked this painting is because it allows us to discuss a topic that we haven't really touched on very much in these Painting of the Week videos, and that's this idea of Pointillism, or Pointillism, as sometimes I hear it pronounced. And Seurat was very interested in optical theory and color theory. And what he did is, in paintings like this, he contrasted and combined miniature, kind of like dots of color, that through optical unification, individual dots of paint, when seen collectively together, formed a single color or hue in the viewer's eye. So for instance, if he painted a lot of little green dots and a lot of little red dots in a certain fashion, then when a viewer looked at the painting, the color they would see would actually be a combination of both red and green, and the human eye would perceive that as yellow. So Pointillism is very much into the small, distinct dots of pure color, and they're not actually dots or points. They're really small brushworks, but in kind of a modern sense, they're almost like pixels, like how an inkjet printer works by creating pixels. It's akin to that. But when these small dots or small brushstrokes of color are applied to a canvas, they collectively form an image, such that if you view the painting from a distance, it looks complete, but if you get very close, you can't even tell what you're looking at because all you see are little tiny dots of color. There's a great scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off where Cameron, the kind of goofy friend, is in the Art Institute of Chicago, and he's looking at this painting, and it keeps alternating between his face and the painting. And as it gets closer and closer, you can see that you can no longer actually discern what the painting even is, because you just see all these little tiny dots that constitute this painting as really the first work in Pointillism. And this was something that Seurat developed himself. And it was part of a larger movement called neo-impressionism, which was kind of a branch of post-impressionism, by which we returned to impressionistic techniques, but using some sort of a different flavor. So Pointillism, for instance, which was really the dominant technique of neo-impressionism when it first took off, copied impressionism in theme, right? So the subject matter of this painting matches that of impressionism. You have a park, which was a very common setting for impressionist paintings. You can see that there's a large amount of attention paid to the way the sunlight lands on the island. It's a leisure painting. It's a depiction of people at leisure, the bourgeoisie. These were all very prevalent in impressionist paintings. But there's a definite stiffness about this painting, or accuracy, that would always be absent from impressionism. I was watching the video by Smart History about A Sunday Afternoon, and they said that the people look almost like chess pieces. This painting looks very highly planned, and it was, like I said, Seurat spent over 2 years sketching this work, but unlike the Impressionists, who would commonly work outside, Seurat would make preliminary sketches, sometimes even on the back of a cigar box, and then he would return back to the studio and paint on this giant canvas. So, like I said, the subject matter, while it is distinctly impressionist, or at least related to impressionism, the manner in which this painting was produced, the pointillist technique, the fact that it was painted inside, the structure and the stiffness of the figures, is very different from impressionism. And that's how we can draw a line by which we say, okay, this is impressionism, this is post-impressionism, or neo-impressionism, in which we see a renewed interest in impressionist themes without necessarily relying on the same impressionist techniques that you would have seen in a Renoir or a Degas or a Monet. And there's also a very kind of artificial flavor about this painting, I think. The people are just sort of put there, and there almost looks like there's maybe too many people on this island. La Grande Jatte was an island in the Seine, and it was like I said, a leisure place for typically middle class or middle kind of upper class individuals. But here it seems kind of fake, kind of construed, which maybe is a reflection of what Seurat saw as construed societal roles, or the construed societal role of the middle class. You've got different people doing different activities. The dominant figure is the woman off to the right holding an umbrella. It looks like she has a monkey on a leash. There's something kind of almost goofy about this painting that I think really adds something special to it as well. And as always, if you like art as much as I do, please don't forget to subscribe. I hope you've liked this painting as much as I have. See you next week. Brand new video. Thanks for watching, everybody.